Let me tell you a story. So at the end of all of my gym sessions, I like to record a little progress video just so I can like track my progress in like video format. I remember I think it was 2021, 2022, and one of the videos I was recording, just this random guy walks up to me. I think he was like mid-20s, and he's like, "Oh, I wish I had abs like that, but I drink too much beer." I think he said something like that. I can't remember specifically. I'll put the video up here if I can find it. But he was saying something like that, and he just struck up a conversation with me just like that and started having a conversation with me. And it just seems so natural and like easy. And I came back from that experience thinking, wait a sec, I just made a whole new friend, and it didn't even feel awkward or uncomfortable because the way he started up the conversation just felt natural, and it didn't even feel awkward for me. And the thing is, this wasn't like something that just regularly happened to me. This was like a first time occurrence for me of just someone approaching me and starting up a conversation. So the whole new like experience for me, and I just didn't really understand it. And the more and more I thought about it, I was like, this guy just like does this all the time. Because after that, I hit he basically became my mate. I got his details and we hit a few gym sessions together. And he basically knew everyone at the gym because he was extra social and just like talking to everyone, dapping them up. And I was like, you know what? He must have approached them all in the exact same way that he approached me. Obviously not like with the same line or something, but he just struck up a conversation with them based on whatever they were doing in the current moment. And that's why it felt so natural, comfortable, and easy. And the more and more I thought about it, the more and more it resonated with me. And I was like, you know what? This isn't even that difficult.
So this shit crazy.
So what tell DJ Khaled say another one? I CBA, so I'm not even talking. You want my ETA, I ain't left just yet.
So I always had this like level of anxiety when it came to social interactions or like conversations and all this sort of stuff. And to others, like my parents or like my family, my close friends and family, they all thought I was an introvert. But in my head, I just used to say, oh yeah, no, if I wanted to approach someone and talk to them, I could do it if I really wanted to. But I didn't really want to. And I just got myself lost in this false sense of confidence because I was just convincing myself thinking, yeah, I could if I wanted to, but I don't want to. But I am confident enough to if I wanted to. But honestly, I was just lying to myself the whole time. I wasn't actually confident. And it turns out, I think I actually just had like a level of social anxiety. Now, by creating this false sense of confidence within me to say, oh yeah, I could do it if I wanted to, I just don't want to, kind of like was a coping mechanism to not deal with the social anxiety. Now, in terms of actually being an introvert, I feel like a lot of people aren't introverts. People say like, oh, that's your personality type and this and that. But honestly, I just think it's just a term to cope with being socially anxious. Humans are designed to be social creatures. We're designed to talk to people, have a tribe, have a family, and just be communal, right? If you think back in the old days, people used to live in villages and they'd go out every day, talk to these people every day, see these people every day. This whole term of like being introvert, extrovert, ambivert, I feel like all this stuff is just new modern day terms to make it seem like it's okay to be socially anxious. When realistically, why would you want to be socially anxious? Like, you're just enabling yourself. So I realized I wasn't even an introvert. I just had social anxiety and I coped just to avoid facing it. And maybe you're doing the same. Now, how can you fix this? Because recently, I've become incredibly social that people think I'm an extrovert now because of how much I'm talking to people and this and that. I've fully gone from people thinking, oh no, he's an introvert, he doesn't talk to people, he prefers being on his own, to now being the guy that's like, oh no, he's an extrovert, he's the one that's going to host the party, he's going to bring people along, he's going to like be the life of the party and this and that. I've been in so many social situations, I've organised so many events, I've just been that confident guy. So how can you become that person? How can you become that extra level of social? So I've got 4 tips for that. The first one is a bit weird, or like the way that I describe it is going to be a bit weird, but bear with me. So I can't remember where I heard this analogy from, but it's essentially being socially lubed up. So if you ever notice, when you're hanging out with your friends, or you're like your family, say for example you have like your cousins, you're always in a bantery, jokey mood with them. So say, for example, you go to a function with them. Like, say, for example, you go to a wedding with your cousins. You don't know everyone at the wedding. You don't know who's on the groom side, the not the groom side, but like, isn't that you don't know who's on the other side of the family and this and that. But when you go to the wedding, you don't go into it thinking, oh, I have to deal with people and talk to them and this and that. You're usually in a lot more of a social mood because you're going with a group of people that know you and you're already comfortable with that group. Because you're already comfortable with that group, you're in this mood to just be social. And that's what I mean by being socially lubed up. So, like, say, for example, imagine the difference in your energy from going to a party with no friends, like you just go on your own, and then you come into the party and you're just this, you have almost this like insecure, shy energy where you don't really want to talk to anyone, you just want to do your own thing, you just want to sit in the corner and not really talk to anyone, just kind of watch what happens. Now, that's the guy that people think, yo, he's an introvert. But realistically, you're just socially anxious. Now, the other guy is the guy that goes to the party with his friends, and because he's going with his friends, he's already in this bantery, jokey mood. He's like walking in, he's like already joking with his friends, talking to his friends, he's fist bumping random people, his friends introduce him to people, and he's, or even she's already got this like energy about him or her where they're just already being social. And this is what I mean by being socially lubed up. So if you ever go to an event or like you know you're going to be going to a party or something, try and go with a group of friends or a group of people that you're comfortable with, because you yourself will step into that place with a lot more of a comfortable and confident energy. So when you're talking to people and when you're being social, you don't deep it that much. Like, you're not thinking, oh no, I need to approach this person, I need to say this little word and this and that. It's more so just like, you don't even know how you started talking to this person. It just ended up happening. And now you're talking to this person, you've gotten in a conversation with a random stranger, and now they're going to become your friend. Do you get what I'm trying to say? I don't know if you've ever like been in that situation where you've just gone out with a group of friends and they've introduced you to someone, you just start striking up a random conversation. But that's literally how it happens. You don't even think about it. You just randomly start having conversations with people because you come into it with this comfortable, confident energy. And that's being socially lubed up. Now, the next thing is literally just being friendly, being kind, being nice, saying hi, like literally just holding the door open for someone. And then that like gets your foot in the door because people are then going to be like, oh, thank you. And then you'll be like, oh yeah, no worries. And then you can just strike up a conversation. Like, it seems really basic and silly and like low level and low tier, but trust me, the amount that this works to just start talking to people and start being social and like getting your foot in the door, you don't end up like just, the whole thing that you want to avoid is overthinking about it and thinking, oh, but what should I say? And if I say this, they'll think this about me and this and that and this and that. You don't want to come into it with all this insecure energy. You just want to kind of act. Now, that's my next point. If you have a thought that comes to your mind, you just act. You don't think about it. Like, say for example, you see someone, you see a girl that you think that's cute, and instead of thinking, oh no, now I need to say a line that to like go up to her and say, oh, she has nice eyes and this and that, and oh, but I can't say it in this way or she'll think I'm creepy or this and that. If you just notice her eyes and you think they look good, go up to her and say, yo, by the way, I just saw you from over there and I thought your eyes looked really like beautiful. Like, it sounds weird, but the guy that comes across, or the person that comes across more authentic and genuine in what they're saying, holds a lot more confidence about them, and they come across as a lot more confidence, and it's just a much more better received interaction. Like, the person that you're talking to will realize that you haven't actually even deeped this that much. You've just gone up to them and approached them. They'll understand that, and they'll respect that a lot more. Whereas if you come across with this energy of like, oh, but I can't say this and this and that, and then you've carefully thought up some line, like carefully thought up some sort of witty line, some pickup line or something. Sometimes, yeah, it works. Sometimes girls like that. But honestly, most of the time, like, they can tell you've thought about it too much. They can tell you're in your head about it because you're coming in with this nervous energy and you're like, I don't know, think of a pickup line. It'd be like, oh, that guy over there thinks you're cute, and then you run over there and say, oh, it's me, ha ha ha. She's just gonna be here thinking like, oh yeah, okay, maybe that was kind of cute, but it's also a bit sad that he had to think of a whole line just to come over here. Sometimes just go over and say hi. Sometimes just go over and say, oh yeah, your hair looks really nice today. What shampoo do you use? Sounds weird, but like, that's it again. Me thinking it sounds weird is me overthinking it. But if you just think it, if you just act as soon as you think about it, you don't give your brain time to overthink about it. If you don't give your brain time to overthink about it, then you're not going to come into it with this insecure energy of like having already overthought about all the bad things that could happen. And because you're overthinking, thinking, oh, this bad thing is going to happen, this bad thing is going to happen, it's more likely to happen because you've already visualized it in your head thinking, oh, she's going to say no, she's going to call me like a creep just for approaching her. Now going on to the next point, bringing this in, don't be a creep. Like, it's easier said than done, but I'm hoping you have enough moral compass and an understanding to know boundaries of like where you're being a little bit too much and you're coming across a little bit creepy to the person you're trying to approach or the person you're trying to talk to. Now, I know a lot of the examples that I've used here is about talking to girls, but even like just trying to make a friend, you don't want to come across too creepy and just instantly go into it. You want to just come into it with this calm, collected energy. And a way of doing this is literally just taking a deep breath beforehand. That deep breath can help you just collect your thoughts. And when I say a deep breath, I mean a deep breath that goes all the way down to your stomach. You don't want to have these like shallow breaths of like, what should I say? And like, you just come across creepy with this needy, insecure, desperate energy. And that's what you want to avoid. Because that's basically the whole point of this video. Having that sort of energy puts you in this introvert, insecure, shy type of mindset of the person you don't want to be. You don't want to have that social anxiety, right? Now, I know a lot of this seems like doodah or like it doesn't really make sense because social anxiety is a term that's like people get prescribed medicine for social anxiety, right? Like they take pills and stuff because they're so anxious, which, okay, sure. I have my own thoughts about that, which I'll get into in a second. But honestly, it's all in your head. If you just don't think about it, don't allow yourself to think about it, and go back to that step that I mentioned earlier. If you don't think about it and you just act as soon as you have the thought, where's the social anxiety then? Because you're not actually like letting yourself overthink about it. And honestly, this just stems from the fact that we're so afraid that society is going to judge us for being us. Sometimes you just need to be you and authentically just you. Now, an example of this is I was out shopping with my granddad and like my grandma, and bless them, they weren't born in this country. They can't speak English very well at all. And even though like they've still lived here for quite a while, so they can speak it somewhat and they've managed so far, but still they can't speak it the best. And we're at like the till trying to order something, and there was like an error that came up on the screen or something like that. It wasn't even that actually. We didn't even need their help, but my granddad just wanted to ask not the cashier, but like the store assistant that was working there a question. And he couldn't even like, I don't mean any disrespect towards him, but he couldn't even pronounce what he was trying to ask correctly. But he didn't even think about it. He just talked to my grandma and was like, oh, I'm going to go ask them a question. And then he just goes ahead and does it. He isn't sitting here thinking, okay, I need to phrase it this way. I need to say it like this. I need to do this so I don't come across weird. Oh, but I don't know how to pronounce that word and this and that. He's not thinking any of that. He's thinking, I want this piece of information. I'm going to go get it. And that's how simple it used to be. Like back then, social anxiety just didn't exist. If a thought came to your mind, you would have just acted on it. You wouldn't have overthought and been like, oh, this is going to happen. And this is what I mean. Social anxiety didn't exist. You're not actually socially, like, saying you're socially anxious. Even like, I know I said I was at the beginning of this video, But even saying you're socially anxious is giving it a term for no reason. You don't want to define it and give it a term for no reason, because then you're making it in something bigger than it actually is, when in reality it's just in your head. You're thinking you're an introvert, you're thinking you're socially anxious, and then you're creating that identity for yourself. When in reality, like I said, it's just in your head. All you need to do is act. Do you get what I'm trying to say? I know I'm making it sound like, oh, this is too easy to be true, but this and that. Like, try everything out that I've said here, because all of these things have literally taken me from being that guy that's in the club, in the corner, sipping on the drink and just watching everyone, to now being the guy that's like, when I'm in the club, I'm either talking to like 10, 20 different people. I've made like 10, 20 different friends. Every time I go out to the club now, I come back with 10 new Instagram followers. I'm not saying that as like a flex, but like that's what happens when you start acting instead of thinking. When you have an idea of, oh, I want to go talk to this person. If you take one thing away from this video, if you want to talk to someone, if you see someone and you're like, oh, I want to talk to them. Oh, that guy, he has a really nice jacket. Don't think, oh, but I can't approach him. He's going to judge me. He's going to think this. He's going to think that. Go up to him and say, yo, bro, your jacket's really cool. Where'd you get it? Most guys are going to respect that. The guy himself, he's going to be hyping himself up and being like, oh, yeah. Nice, thank you. I appreciate that compliment. Yeah, I got it from here. And then boom, you've got into a conversation. Once you got into the conversation, most people know how to have a conversation. Like, I don't need to teach you how to have a conversation. Once you're into that stage, you just take it from there and boom, you've got a new friend. Because the thing is, most people overthink the beginning stage. But in reality, once you get past that beginning stage, everything's easy. The whole conversation itself is easy. You just need to be you. Say what comes to mind and just flow with the conversation. You know how to have a conversation. But, yeah, like I said, if you take one thing away from this video, don't think, just act. Alright, I'll see you guys in the next video.